Nice to meet you. I'm Alex.
This is staged.
It feels a little staged, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, we just found each other on LinkedIn. We talked about a feature.
So there's a nice little feature on LinkedIn where if you go to My Network tab, there's a Find Nearby feature. And if you turn that on, you turn it on at the same time, then you can connect easily with each other. Now, we're in the basement level, so it might work. But usually it works quite well.
It works, and we found each other through that.
We did find each other. Maybe some people are trying right now.
Yeah, find it right. You have to have it switched on so that you go
Yeah, it's working. The old charger.
Efrat.
If everyone
If everyone opens it, we can get lots of connections.
No need for business cards anymore.
Say it again, it's a LinkedIn app, and inside the LinkedIn app, in your network tab, you have a feature called Find Nearby at the top.
It's pretty cool, right? So like maybe if you're like.
Lots of people. Okay. Connecting with everyone.
Just to say, Alex is from Scotland, so if anyone has any issues with him, just shout and I'll interpret.
Please, I will try and speak slowly. I don't know how many of you guys, how many people know, but Israel actually beat Scotland in football about 2 weeks ago. So, yeah.
Oh my.
It's the first time that's happened. So at LinkedIn, we have a tradition when we introduce ourselves, where we say who we are and our role, but then also something that's not in our LinkedIn profile. So maybe you could kick off by sharing.
All right. So I'm Efrat. I'm the vice president of marketing at Aerobotics. Aerobotics is a drone company. All that is on my LinkedIn profile. Even the fact that I was once a computer programmer, that's also in my profile. But what's not on my profile is that I'm a mother to Eitan. He's 9 years old. I'm a single mom, and I'm divorced. All that is not on my profile. And I have a boyfriend. That's not weird. And I've been in the marketing business for the past 15 or so years in the tech business. So I started as a programmer and moved to marketing, business development marketing. And now I'm in a startup.
How's that going?
Super crazy, but doing well. I mean, Aerobotics is a very exciting startup, and I'll share today some good successes that we've had on LinkedIn and some pitfalls and failures as well.
Yeah.
There are some of that too. But it's, working in the tech scene and startup scene in Israel, and I've been talking to a lot of entrepreneurs. It can be normal if you're a normal person and a normal company, and it can be crazy if you work on a startup on steroids like Aerobotics is. So we're in hyper growth and we're growing very fast, both in terms of our customers and geographical locations, the number of employees, and the product and the demand from the market, but also on our marketing activity as well. So it scales a bit.
Thanks for sharing.
So some of my team is here.
Okay.
Great team, yeah.
You don't want to say the wrong stuff. Maybe some of that stuff is news. I don't know.
Oh my bullshit.
I'll quickly introduce myself. So my name's Alex McDonald. I lead our international new business team for marketing solutions in LinkedIn from Dublin. So that means that's currently 4 markets that my team cover, which is Israel, France, Germany, and Netherlands. It's something that's not in my LinkedIn profile. On Sunday in Dublin, I'm running my first marathon. So yeah. This is also my first trip to Tel Aviv, so I was really looking forward to it in terms of sampling the culture, and enjoying the local beers. And I've had to kind of knock that on the head a little bit.
Did you enjoy that?
Well, I had one beer last night. It was nice.
You're very polite.
Yeah. That was good.
Coming from Scottish.
Well, yeah. Actually, I started my career working in whiskey, but that's another story. So, if you're really interested, if you could share your experience, in a leadership position in a startup, trying to scale your business, and how you use LinkedIn. How's it working for you? What can we do better? Always keen to know.
All right, so there are a lot of things that I can share. Let's start with how I use LinkedIn, or how I view LinkedIn today. So as I said to Alex before, when I go to work every morning, my main platforms that are open on my tabs on my computer, and I use them regularly, are my website and my marketing automation system, CRM, and LinkedIn. I mean, those are the three channels that I get most of my engagement with people through. And LinkedIn has become one of the most significant tools for me today to create new relationships with people, because we're working in Israel as a tech startup scene that is marketing to global market, not to the Israeli market. We're working with people that are tens of thousands of kilometers away from us, and sometimes the only way to connect with them is through the internet. And so LinkedIn as a professional platform has become one of the most key channels for me to engage, to start relationships, and then to nurture them over time, and then to try and transform those relationships into physical interactions with myself or with my teams around the world. And what I've learned is that I use everything on LinkedIn. Like I think I've used almost every feature or every possibility that the platform enables, both on the organic side and on the paid side. So I know the platform very, very well. And what I've learned is that in order to get the best results out of my conversion rates and engagement with the right people, the people that I need to engage with, my target customers or investors or media, I need to build that throughout time. It's not something that is quick. I mean, there is great value for targeted campaigns that pay when you need to do like a blast, peak campaign and find your targets and start engaging very quickly and acquire leads and all that. But the biggest value lies in creating a big, powerful network that is around a certain industry, geography, verticals or topics of interest, and then nurture that over time with the right content. And then once you build yourself as a person that continually provides value or education through your content, then people are more susceptible to then engage with you, answer you if you reach out to them and ask them something. They don't view you as a hoarder or an advertiser or just a vendor trying to sell them something. They really start creating meaningful relationships with you. So this is work that takes time, and it takes some strategy, and also you have to be very conscious and careful in how you communicate with people, what you do, what you don't do. There's a lot of thought behind how you use the platform right, but I think that's where the biggest value lies, and I do that throughout time. So, I spoke to one person here that has been following me on LinkedIn, and he told me, I really love your work on LinkedIn. And I stopped and asked him, can you tell me why? Because I'm really curious to understand what drives this engagement, what has you enjoy what I post on LinkedIn, because this is work for me, right? And I do that for work. At the same time, I know that I'm engaging with people, and I want to understand what has them connect to me. And he said that, it's you, right? Yeah, you can say it.
Great. All right, fine. I've been following you for a couple of years. The first time we're actually meeting is that you take all of the things that I love about LinkedIn and all the things I love about other platforms, and she brings it onto LinkedIn. She brings the personality, she brings the person, she brings the work, what I'm doing, the daily updates, things I can learn from, things that are inspiring, things that are interesting. It's a real, she makes LinkedIn a human-to-human platform, which often it doesn't, because LinkedIn leaves out the cat videos, leaves out the pictures of children usually, and you're able to make it human, inspiring, fun, and you make the platform that I love so much. You're like a major part of my newsfeed, and I love it.
Yeah, so that's one of the problems. People say that we're too active sometimes, but in any case, so the fact that you continually share yourself, and it's not Facebook and it's not Twitter. You don't have to share personal stuff. You don't have to show your personal life. This is career oriented, but still, even in your career life, there are some things that you are tackling and that you're doing in your day-to-day that you can openly talk about and share, even if it's not positive or something has, I don't know, upset you now, and leverage the platform to create meaningful relationships. So, I mean, you can still do that as a you know, it's a valuable marketer to your audience. So.
Yeah. And
you asked where we can improve.
yeah, where can we improve? That's the really interesting bit, right?
No, but first I want to see your opinion about what really drives that engagement and what do you think that really works for marketeers or for business people in general on the platform from your experience?
So our business has been on quite an interesting journey over the last couple of years. I think it's worth touching on the growth we've seen in Israel as a market for us, particularly our marketing solutions business. It's been like a rocket ship the last 2 years, but that's because we've had a real alignment in our business around the development of our product, but I think primarily the development of our news feeds. That actually, I've been in LinkedIn just over 3 years. I've been on the platform a lot longer than that. LinkedIn used to be a place where you had your own profile and you'd go and look at someone else's profile and that was it. The last 2 or 3 years, the company's invested a lot in making the newsfeed really engaging, and it's become a real hub for people to engage with content, relevant news, stuff that's happening in their professional network. And I hope that most people find the LinkedIn feed quite an engaging place. I think that for me, what really works, whether this is organic or paid, I think it's much the same. Like the short answer is having a perspective and having some meaning to what you say. I think the longer answer and the reason why is because I don't know if have you read *Sapiens*? You know the book *Sapiens*? Hands up, who's read *Sapiens*? Actually, I can't remember. Yeah, but so it's an Israeli author, right? So he basically argues that we're animals and we're not much more sophisticated than animals, right? And psychologists are looking at this stuff as well, and they say that the reason we take decisions, the reason we're motivated, aren't necessarily to do with reason. So we explain our decisions through reason. Reason isn't necessarily the thing that drives our decisions, right? So what am I trying to say here? To stand out, you need to make people feel something.
Yeah.
And whatever industry you're operating in, there's probably a debate going on within that industry. Or if we're operating in a marketing context, there's debates going on within marketing. I would say contribute to that debate in a way that's authentic to you professionally or authentic to your company, ideally both. Because that's what people look for. People are looking for content that stands out to them, that speaks to more than just what your product does, or what your daily routine is, which I see quite a lot on LinkedIn as well. But it's trying to speak to people in a way that has meaning, that resonates, because ultimately we take decisions based on what moves us. And I think in LinkedIn, while it's not Facebook, it's not Twitter, there's a reason why cat videos are popular, because it makes people feel something. I think actually LinkedIn in a professional context can be quite similar to that. So whatever you're talking about, I think take a perspective, because people find that interesting, and try and be authentic to who you are and what your company does.
I agree. And then if we look at companies and we talk about the company pages, for example, so I agree that there are certain things that have really improved over the past few years. Like the feed is definitely noticeable, that it's much more fun for me. I can scroll down and enjoy the content there, which I couldn't before. I think the profiles work really well. I think messaging has a way to go still. I mean, I would use it a lot.
It's better,
but
right?
It's better than where it has
agree
been,
on better.
but there is a way to go. But the most disappointing thing for me is the groups. It's unnoticeable, you can't use it anymore, there's no real advancement in groups for all I care. I've stopped using it, and it's a shame because I have been using it.
Yeah.
I have once put a post, I think it was a couple of years ago, I mean, some may be remembering, in a mining professionals group, 200,000 people obsessed with mining, right? That's the industry that we sell to.
Right? Is it?
Yeah, random. And the post was an article I wrote in a magazine called Pit and Quarry, as you do. It was about drill and blast in mining sites, and I put that post in that group, and it scored like 400 or 500 shares and comments and likes, I don't know, in the thousands, and it became like viral. But I had no clue how it happened, and there's no algorithm for me to understand how to replicate it again.
Yeah.
It was fluke, right? And I can't use groups to leverage the content work I do. So that's a shame, because groups are there. People are still members of those groups, and you guys are like, no.
So we're investing in groups now.
So
It's coming.
Yeah,
It's
it's
coming.
coming.
You understand there's a huge amount of effort going into groups at the moment.
Yeah.
And it's a huge part of building your profile individually,
Great.
but also for your company, that is taken into account for your relevancy score and all these kind of things. So
we are waiting
I'm
for it.
sending
It's
you
a shame. It's
information.
such an asset that you've
Yeah.
got that is not being leveraged.
It's coming.
Groups are coming, and also the relaunch of company pages is coming as well.
Right.
And
What will be new there?
it's more of a sort of interface relaunch, but I think the aspiration for company pages is that, I kind of said this already, but like next to your website, it
Yeah.
should be the most important
So I have
place
to
for
say
your
something
company.
about that. Yeah, and I have some stats about it. I took them this morning about our company
I
page.
hope they're good.
Obviously they're good, otherwise I wouldn't be here. 3,000 page views a month of the company page. That's a significant challenge already. I
Yeah.
mean, if you think about it, 3,000, we're a B2B company. We
Yeah.
have a very niche, small targeted market, mining, a little bit of homeland security, government, but mostly mining in Australia and in the US. That's it.
Yeah.
It's a very narrow market, and we have 3,000 views of our company page every month. That means we're doing something right, and it's growing all the time. Content is there regularly, what, twice, 3 times a week? Something like that. And we share a lot of content from our own profiles as well. You see, obviously when you go to a company page today, you can see the growth of employees, and
Yeah.
you can see the people that are connected to the company. So there's a lot of very useful information there. And I can testify that when I go out and try to hunt people
Yes.
in my target customer companies, and I get, for example, I get a lead through my website, and I get all these details. The first thing I do is I go and I find that person on LinkedIn, and then once I find the person, or once I know the company name, I don't go to their website to understand what they do. I actually go to their LinkedIn company page. Why? Because marketeers tend to much better emphasize and phrase their value proposition in the LinkedIn company page than they are on their website. This is what I found.
Yeah.
Because when I go to someone's website and I try to understand what they do, they may be a service engineering company, whatever, and all they have on their website is their values and how much they care about their employees or do for the environment or whatever. But what do you do? I want to know who you are. You know what I mean? And on LinkedIn company page, they tend to just write what they do, like who they are. So
That summary
it
at the
saves
top.
me a lot of time. Yeah, the summary,
Yeah,
just the
yeah.
one paragraph. So I go there first
Mm.
and I check. So I think that if companies start using the company page correctly, they can really get a lot of page views and engagement through that channel. And it's a significant channel. So
Yeah.
I can also say how much traffic we get from
Go on, post.
LinkedIn. So I can tell you that 50% of the social media traffic to our website is from LinkedIn, and 65% of our leads from social are from LinkedIn. So people that actually are engaging with the content on our website, 65% of them come from LinkedIn, which is huge. We went from 0 to 5,500 followers on our company page in 2.5 years. So for a B2B company,
amazing.
I think
Yeah,
that's a good number. And the rate right now in the past 1 year is a growth of about 200 to 300 people a month on that company page. For me, personally, I have 9,200 contacts on LinkedIn, and that's growing at a crazy rate every month, like maybe 100 new people every month, depending on if if I have an exhibition or if I'm just doing my normal work. But overall, I can tell you that although only 5% of my leads, my total leads on the website come from LinkedIn, the actual number of leads that I get on the platform itself, like not through the website. So people I engage with on LinkedIn and then I convert them on LinkedIn, they start talking to me and then I can set up a meeting or a call or a demo, is at least, I'd say, 10 to 15% more. So significant volume of my work and my engagement with new customers or new leads is not even happening on my website and marketing automation system. It's happening on LinkedIn, inside LinkedIn.
And a lot of that's
And then
down
at
to
one
your,
stage I will bring them over to my HubSpot, but
yeah, and that's down to your organic presence
Yes.
as much as your paid presence, right?
correct,
Yeah.
correct.
And I think for us, one of the aspirations for company pages is that it should really be a hub for a lot of your professional activities as a company. So I don't think this is a product roadmap actually, but like why shouldn't you be running all your webinars from your LinkedIn page?
Correct.
It makes a lot of sense, right?
Of course.
It's not something we do today. So I think that the aspiration over time is that we take company pages into a place where they're actually a far more important source of information. Because people who are onto your company page either want to sell to you, buy to you, or work for you.
Yeah.
And all three are very important.
Yes.
So it's something we're trying to get right.
I totally agree. I think another key element of your growth on LinkedIn and your growth for the company in general should be the network that you're building. I've said that before, but what I mean is, a lot of people ask me, especially people that are new to LinkedIn or if they haven't used the platform before, a lot of people offer me to connect. Should I connect with them? Like just as a general question. So the answer to that, the answer I give is look at what they do and what they may want from you. If they can be a mediator to a potential customer or to media or to someone that you may want to work with in the future, even if they are not that person, but they can connect you later, or they are in the target market that you are aiming for, or they are talking about the same areas of interest that you are talking about, connect with them. Why not? Because as you increase the size of your network, then every small piece of content that you put out there has a bigger reach, has more eyeballs to it, and I don't know if you've cracked the LinkedIn algorithm yet. I think I started to. But when you have a good organic post and people like your post, the more they like it, the faster, the more people start seeing it, and then your second connections and your third connections, and then they start sharing it. And one thing you must fix very quickly is that when people share my post, I can't see it anymore. Organically.
Yeah.
Please let me see who shared my post so I can tell them thank you. Like, it's so simple. Anyway, so
Taking notes.
Like
like I have so many things to admire. Anyway, but once your post starts picking up and people start sharing it or commenting on it, then it grows, and the bigger your network is, the bigger your one small piece of content gets viewed, and if there's a call to action there, then even better. People may even ask for a meeting or something, or just engage with you and continue building that trust with you as a good source of education and content. So my short answer to that question is yes, connect to people that can be a good circle for you. Make sure that you educate. It's not just for you individuals. I'm assuming you guys are in marketing, so make sure, take that as a point to educate your teams in your company. You have to build like awareness and a LinkedIn program inside your company so that salespeople know how to use the platform in the best way possible. And HR knows, obviously HR will know, but you can still leverage that. Employees, how do you harness the power of your employees on the platform? I use HubSpot, so we have the capability of taking people's LinkedIn, if they give us the authority, and post on their behalf through HubSpot, which is an amazing tool. And if we want to do a post for an exhibition, for example, in a certain territory, I can have all the 15 people in that territory post something about that through me. I don't even have to talk to them, and they give me the authority to do that. They become ambassadors of your brand. They help building the brand, they help bringing that engagement that you need with people and drive those leads to come. So I encourage you to look at LinkedIn as a bigger tool that you can harness throughout the organization and think about every department and how they can make the most use out of that platform. And it will be for different departments in different ways or through different content or different means, but it's worth putting your thought onto that because that will drive growth.
Yeah, just to quickly share one thing about that, I think utilising your own senior execs to share with their networks on LinkedIn can be really powerful. You're not just posting everything from the company page, but you've actually got the people leading the company sharing on a regular basis. Our a guy called Henry Price, who heads up our marketing solutions business, he does a 1-minute video most mornings on his walk to work, just sharing his perspective on something that he thinks is interesting. But it helps that he's quite an interesting guy, and he's usually talking about something interesting. But this is great, like snackable content that builds his presence, but also helps indirectly build the brand of the company and the business.
Another marketing
Question. Just a question that interests me, maybe other people as well. When I think about marketing in general, for me, it's very trivial that B2C, it's so much all about marketing. And it's interesting for me to look from the side and admire the marketing job that is being done at robotics, that it's clearly a B2B company, and not even it's mining facilities, it's not even software companies. It's very much traditional manufacturing and traditional facilities. And I'm interested in the use case of LinkedIn in B2B versus B2C. And even if we take that a step back and move away from LinkedIn for a second, the importance of doing such marketing and such personal marketing in that environment, in the environment of B2B. And then the use case of LinkedIn in that context.
Right. So in B2B it's easier because you're handling smaller quantities of people. But in any case, when you are targeting your top target list, you don't have thousands, in B2B, you don't have thousands of targets. You have tens or hundreds of targets, right? And normally inside those target companies, you have 5 to 10 people who will be the biggest decision makers or the top level people in those organizations. So mapping them out is key. And then once you've mapped them out, you can start reaching out to them. It's very important to match the person who is reaching out to the person that you are reaching out to in terms of the seniority level or the message that you're sending. So a lot of thought has to be given to that. But I know you're surprised, but today I think almost all industries are using LinkedIn. I've seen the most random industries and people that have LinkedIn profiles. Some of them are not active or not very active, but they have a presence. And some of them don't have a presence, and it's fine, but I find it very hard to believe that today a company will not have a presence on LinkedIn, and at least someone from that company will not have a presence. So it's a tool that should be used, and it's also related to, we talked about it before, mentality, geography, and industry. And for example, a few years ago when I worked for another company and we were targeting the German market, I was trying to connect with German people. They were not on LinkedIn. Yeah. Hardly any. They have a different.
So it's the one. Germany's the only market in the world where we actually have there's a bigger professional network than LinkedIn. It's called Sing. We're going to overtake, but it's just LinkedIn.
So they were like, that was a failure. And in the US, I found in that previous company that I was in, that people tend not to answer at all. However, in Australia, people are so open and they answer. Now at Aerobotics, in the US, people answer. So it's a different industry. It's mining now, not telecommunications, which I worked for before. They answer, they engage. So it really changes from one geography, vertical, and industry to another. But it's always worth trying because you don't know. You may find that the mining industry in Australia is very open to engage with you, which is what I found out. So I think the first customer that we had at Aerobotics, it's a mining company in Australia called South 32. I've actually reached out August 2016, 2 months after the company was public. I mean, public people knew about it. I reached out to the CTO of Saturday 2 through LinkedIn, and I told him I'm coming in a couple of months to Perth, can we meet up? And he answered me straight away and said, sure, I'm going to be in China, but I'm going to set up a meeting for you with my team. And I came 2 months later, and we had that meeting, and he actually didn't fly to China. He was there, so I met him in person, and today is one of our biggest promoters. He's on our advisory board, that guy, and he was the first one to sign a deal with us and bring us into the Australian market, and it all started just by, a cold call on LinkedIn, And I just mapped, I was very targeted in which companies, and I just sent a simple message. It was not acquiring a lead, it was really just talking to a person. So, I mean, I think people underestimate the power that the traditional, basic skills of marketing are so powerful through that medium that is called LinkedIn. You have to have good content, you have to know how to communicate, you have to engage, you have to educate, all that simple basic stuff, and focus on your organic growth throughout time. We see a lot of great results.
Thank you. I'm conscious of time, so why don't we open up to questions?
So I just wanted to jump in on the part where you were mentioning your content and it disappearing into a black hole. So we talked about this over dinner last night. And with the rise of video in particular,
Right.
we can just take Henry's example. When you post it on your profile, eventually it just disappears. And there's no way you can find it, and there's nothing you can do with it. It doesn't really have any impact apart from that initial impact. So it will be something we're working on. But also, it means that it's super important to post those videos and that content to your company page, organically or paid, because when you post it to your company page and transcribe the videos, because that's taken into account, that engagement is taken into account when you have your search engine rankings. So transcribe your videos, make sure to post them on the company page, make sure to post any of that good content that you're doing, like personally, professionally, whatever, as well on your company page, otherwise it's not going to contribute to that.
And on the blogging platform, that's also where it's being saved, right? You can see all your blogs. So I use that too. And that's very, very valuable. The engagement levels with our video content can reach sometimes up to 28% per post if we have a good video. And images, people just love seeing behind the scenes, like the employees and the offices and all that stuff. It's amazing. So an average normal post will have 3 to 5% engagement, and the successful videos or images will have sometimes up to 28-30% engagement, which is crazy. Yeah.
And when we look at a brand's engagement or influence in their target audience on LinkedIn versus their peers, it's mostly organic stuff that we take into account. So it is like influencer posts, employee original posts, so their original content, employee shares, sharing to their network, group activity. And so all of that is building your brand, building your influence, and then the one thing that kind of gets you to the right target audience to make sure that you're influencing them rather than a bigger network that may be slightly relevant with some of the organic stuff is the sponsored content, is the paid stuff. So that really drills into the engagement that you want to let that happen. And we can run reports, by the way, if you want to connect with us afterwards on that. We can call it content marketing score. It takes into account all of that. You give us a list of your peers, and we can pull so that your reach, your frequency, your engagement, and all those kind of stats for you really easily with the tools we have to tell you. Really afterwards.
Let me ask a question. I totally get the organic content marketing. I'm curious in terms of experience from the paid side, from the CPM or CPA cost, the targeting, right? Because my experience is I get the organic. I've been, quite honestly disappointed in terms of the cost and the tools, especially given how much data you actually have of this audience, targeting. So I'm curious your experience on the paid side versus the organic side.
Right. So we've used paid. We're using it from time to time when we want to have some quick impact, and it's pricey, right? Sometimes I can pay $7 to $9 a lead, a click, right, on my sponsored posts, which is so much money. And what I find is that when I do my campaigns and my target audience is quite limited, let's say in the tens of thousands of people, because I normally go by names of companies that I want to target and specific job functions, then the exposure is not great. I mean, my organic exposure is sometimes better than my paid exposure, which is weird, right? Because I pay money for that, but at least I get those clicks. I was not highly successful with conversion rates from paid campaigns, I must say. I hope this will change. Maybe it's something on my side that I need to test more of my landing pages and things like that. But also the integration of my paid work into my HubSpot. So it's something that I need to pay HubSpot in order to see, which is a bit frustrating. Like, I'm already paying for this campaign. I need to now pay on the other side to see my conversion rate. So I'm not paying for that, and I'm kind of just looking at the stats from LinkedIn side. So there are many things that I'm not extremely happy about when I do paid campaigns. I think that can improve, especially the cost. I know that LinkedIn is holding precious data, right, that no one else is holding now, and that's the asset. So you can leverage on that. But if I compare that to other tools that I can run paid campaigns with and get some exposure, then LinkedIn is very pricey for me. I hope I'm giving you
It's a similar experience. I'm just curious. I had the same thing. This is the landing page, is the ad, right? Is it me or is it them? Right?
Yeah. So yeah, maybe both.
So that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
So we've changed radically the way we work recently, and our team provides a service to help new advertisers get set up, whether it's targeting, whether it's access to pages that aren't available directly online to help you, where we can really drill it down into your strategy and finding out what your objectives are and making sure that we get to meet them. And like, if we don't make it work for you guys, we're going to get paid. And so there's no pressure for kind of, in terms of spend or anything like that. But there's a whole bunch of stuff that you can do that you don't probably know right now that we can help you with in order to improve that performance, in order to drill down the CPA. HubSpot integration is coming at the end of this year, full on, and we can help you get access to different features and functionality that we will help you to improve that. And if we can understand where you're trying to get to, we can get there.
Yeah, I do, just to build on that a little bit. I mean, ironically, our business has grown hugely, particularly over the last couple of years, primarily through B2B lead gen. That's where our success has been, and for the reasons you've kind of said. It's an audience you can't get anywhere else, in a context that you can't get anywhere else. And so our team exists to make that work for as many companies as we can. We know we are more expensive than other social platforms, but we think it's for good reason, because you can't access the audience anywhere else, and it's an auction environment, right? So there's a lot of companies that are looking to do it. But yeah, we can reduce costs by doing some of the right things, and that's what the team are here for. So hopefully we can improve your
I think
experience.
it would be great to really get assistance in understanding if I'm putting the right bid, how am I doing with the money that I've already spent, like is it being wisely invested or not, etc. So yeah.
We've a huge amount of internal tools that we can use to look at what you've done previously and inform how we can do better going forward.
Okay.
A lot of that is going to be built in the roadmap to be built back in Campaign Manager, because like you said, we have those precious data that actually we can share, and you shouldn't need to rely on us as heavily to draw those reports. So that is coming in terms of the analytics that we're building out, and the features from our LinkedIn Pixel are going to be expanded, and so all of that is on the roadmap, and we can share that after this as well.
I've also used the InMails sponsored feature, and I used it once, and it was a favorite for me, so I didn't use it since. Like, people simply do, they actually paid sponsored InMails. Maybe it has changed today, I don't know, but it just didn't work.
The response rates actually are very good, but again, it's quite expensive, so it works really well if you have an event or something like that. But our core product is content in the feed. As that feed is engaging, hopefully the sponsored content is engaging as well.
Yeah, I'd much rather use that. That also ties in very well with what our content marketing plan is. So
Yeah.
I can just continue posting my content and just sponsor something.
Any more questions?
Regarding the sponsored emails, you cannot see whether someone replied. Is that correct, or did I just not find it?
You can reply to sponsored emails.
It's actually a feature that's going to change.
Yeah. Right now.
Like, it would be great to see a reply rate, like not just open, but actual reply rate.
So typically, there's a call to action in the sponsored email, and that's where you see responses, but it's not there hasn't been a reply to it as it is a message.
It would be great. To
That's
use
coming, actually, it's coming pretty quickly. Do you know anything?
So I know you mentioned messaging earlier
Yeah.
on, but that's also on the roadmap to improve the messaging and be able to reply as a company. So to have that chat feature, that's all being built out, and we spoke about it when we had our VP of product over here the last time. They're really focusing on drilling down into that, and that will come in partnership with groups as well, and how they're going to interact. So again, we can send more information on that. I think the email we never had the replies to, because if you're sending an email out to 150,000 people, you don't really want them all replying back. So it's just a feature that we've had to launch kind of softly.
I just want to explain why we want to see the reply. We're actually in the medical industry, so we're targeting doctors in a very, very small range, and then we try to actually use the sponsored email to target them B2B very, very closely, very personally. So we basically save ourselves the work to do the organic contacting using the sponsored email. So that we basically set up meetings through those sponsored emails rather than converting them to a landing page and
Sure.
as a lead. I actually also found, I don't know if that's only me maybe, but I couldn't preview the messages inside my platform. So that was kind of scary.
Okay. Talk to us afterwards. I think that we probably look at different ways to get to your outcome, actually, aside from sponsored email. So let's have a chat about that afterwards.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I have a question about your 9,000 plus network that you built, which is really impressive. So I actually have spent most of my time using Facebook, and LinkedIn's new to me. So if I think about building my network like that, which is very inspirational to me, what happens to you personally, when you move on to another company?
Great.
Or another industry, really?
I had that. So before I joined Neurobionics, and I was in a delivery company, I was at Biosis Orca. I had, I think, 5,000 contacts, 5,000, 6,000. And so in the past 2.5, almost 3 years, I've added another 3,000 or so contacts. And all the contacts I had before were either from the telecommunications space and the different customer circles that I used to have in the telecommunications vertical. And so when I moved on, the first thing I had to do is clean my feed from following all those companies or people that I don't want to see kind of related to telecommunications anymore. And the second thing I had to do is tell my network that I moved a position so that if they choose not to engage with me anymore or follow me or see my content, it will not be as annoying, because it can be annoying. If I start posting now on drones and mining to telecom people, that they may decide. So I have to be upfront about it and say, I've moved companies, this is what I'm going to focus on from now on. Feel free to ditch me. And most people don't do that. And they can just simply unfollow you. So you don't get disturbing. At the same time, I haven't seen any, people being annoyed or coming to me with problems from my previous networks. So they're there, they're still connected to me, but the relationship is not active. Where I'm more engaged and active and alive is with the people in the new kind of network, the 3,000 people that I've created in the last few years.
Is there a way you can segment your network?
Is there? I think that would be useful, yeah. If you can do like a media cluster and a personal friends cluster and then customers from telecom and customers from drones.
But the way your newsfeed works is that there is an algorithm. The more people you're engaging with, the more of their content they will see. The more companies
Yes.
you're engaging, the more of their content you will see. So it's curated like that. The more stuff that you're more interested in, you're going to see more. So it's not going to be like, well, I'm not talking to those people in the telecom industry, so they're going to.
Yeah, I think those people are not really exposed to my content anymore by the algorithm. You know how you have now the hashtags?
Yeah.
So I can see that the algorithm is going more and more to the topics that you're talking about. So I think it's promoting my content to relevant geographies, industries, and areas of interest.
And that's only going to get better. So we've got, there's a new feature that's just being tested at the moment called Subscribe to Series, which my PhD review.
Oh.
That only it's been rolled out to a couple of people, but that, making sure that we have the topics that you're most interested in are the ones that are showing in your feed, and so we're rolling out more new features around that as well.
So I have a question just to understand. If you launch a new product, for example, and you want to send information, not as a blog that everybody wants to read about, but on a personal thing, you have to go one by one and send information about this new product. And how
On
you
the
said
blogging platform?
Let's say you launch a new
Yeah.
product,
Yeah.
and you want to communicate this
Yeah.
to your connections.
I don't go one by one. If I want certain people to know about it specifically, then I may also send them specific emails, or through the platform. But what I normally do, I mean, a product launch is a big thing, so I have a whole program around that product launch, and it will be consistent of various channels and various ways of communicating that. Obviously, I'll do PR and press release and all that buzz through the internet and printed media. I will have a very strong presence on social on it. And normally the day of the launch, we launch our press release on LinkedIn, for example, as a post and tell people about it. And then we also pick several mentions that we had in the media about that launch, and then we share that as well in the upcoming 2 to 3 days after the launch. So we continually share content about that launch in the time that it's following. We also use my blogging platform to put a blog inside LinkedIn on that, and that has really great exposure because your contacts that are following you will get a notification about the fact that you posted, I think so, right? That you've posted a new blog. So they see that not just in their feed, but in their notifications, which is an extra bonus. And then you can also send some messages to people if you want to make sure that they see it, and then you put it on your company page as well, obviously. And then you make sure that your customer facing or the right people in the company are also sharing that content. So you need to have a big reach when you have a product launch.
How many of your contacts right now, with 9,000 contacts you have, follow you?
Everyone are following me. Plus extra people that are just following me and not connected to me.
I mean, how many connections do you have? All the connections are following you?
Yes, it's automatic, I think.
But if you're just connected to someone, it
Yeah.
doesn't mean that it follows you.
It does.
Yeah, it's the same.
It's an
Yeah.
automatic feature. But you can decide to
When I say
follow something
follow,
without
when I say
connecting
follow,
to it.
I get so many notifications because of a few thousands of my networks. I get so many notifications, so I don't follow everyone. I mean, sometimes I go through all of the notifications, but mainly I don't really follow them. I mean, it will make a huge
You're not
difference if
supposed to
I
get
send something in
notifications
person.
about content that you haven't engaged with. I mean, notifications is what pops up for you in the notifications tab, and the feed is the feed of the content. So there you will see a lot of content from your connections, but in your notifications, you won't see any new content that someone's posting. You'll get a notification only when one of your connections or the people you're following has posted a blog on the LinkedIn platform. There's a blogging
But
system
it means
here.
that out of the 9,000 people, which
Yeah.
are relevant 3,000 you say, because if you live inside.
More or less, yeah.
Yeah. You want everybody to know about it.
Yeah, but I don't want to force it either, right? I'm not pushing
So
market
when you,
here.
when you do
So
want
I
to
take
force it,
into
you say
consideration that not
specifically-
everybody will see it. You can't, I mean, you can, I can put an ad on and make sure that everyone sees it, but it's not my style. I don't like to push my content on people. I put it out there, if they, again, that goes back to what I said before about building a good, trustworthy relationship with people and having you as a marketer as a source for valuable information. If you prove yourself throughout time to be sharing good content with people, they would want to know when something new happens with you or with your company. So they will tune in and check and be notified if they follow you and you post on the blogging platform, or they'll see you in the feed. But if what you're trying to do is just make sure that everyone sees it, obviously there's a way, but there's a cost to it as well. You may be pushing, you may be, nagging a little bit. So you have to decide what you want to do.
Also, just a benefit that we haven't spoken about is that, if you're, say, your 3,000 followers, the people who engage in it are going to be the people who are obviously listening to your followers. But when they like, comment, or share, that goes way beyond
Way
your
beyond.
3,000 followers, because that person might
Yes.
have also got 3,000 connections.
Yes.
If they like it or comment on the person who's liked it first, then that will share to their connections. So there's this viral effect that happens, both on paid and organic, that there's no cost to it. I know the platforms you have to pay for it. We have it's a free feature for us.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean, that expands your reach and like your frequency. It doesn't necessarily mean you're engaging with the right people, but it's absolutely getting the message to a wider audience, and you're getting the most engaged person who is connected to you, and then the most engaged person connected to them. So you're definitely getting to people who are going to be spreading the message the most passionately about what's about.
Yeah.
And just for clarity, on LinkedIn you can follow without connecting, but you can't connect without following.
Yes.
Right, are you actually targeted sales activities on LinkedIn as well? Apart from marketing, are you doing sales? Are your SDR using LinkedIn or other tools for the sale approach?
Yeah. Our sales team is using Sales Navigator, and in fact, some of my marketing team is using Sales Navigator as well.
So you feel that's
chat with Ira, she's here, she's a master of it.
So is that a natural extension of your marketing, or do you
Yeah.
feel it sometimes contaminates your marketing because you want to be like hovering over there? Because salespeople are pushing. They want to get the meeting and they want to get the engagement.
Not all salespeople are pushy.
All the ones I've met.
You know what? Actually, it's funny because one of the pitfalls or the failures, I don't know if it's a failure, but one of the pitfalls we've had, and we got some feedback from our sales team actually, is that our marketing on LinkedIn can be too pushy sometimes, because what happened is, I told you we have the ability to share through everyone, through all the customer-facing profiles, and we did that, and some of our customers that are connected with more than one person in the company, they're connected with a salesperson and with me and with a CEO, etc., they would see the exact same content through 3 people on their feed, and it annoyed them. So they told the salesperson, you guys are too aggressive on LinkedIn, you should stop putting it everywhere. I just see you on the feed, and it's annoying. And so we started understanding that, first of all, that it works, and secondly, that we need to be smart about how we share and through whom we share. And if we share through one person, we may not want to share through others. So we have to really put our thought to it. And to your question about Sales Navigator, first of all, we don't feel that we're being too pushy or contaminating anything. Worst that can happen is that people don't answer you. I've had really rare cases in which people told me, don't talk to me anymore, spam, blah, blah. I had one in the US, one person told me, this is advertising, I don't want to hear from you. Okay, I've unfollowed you, it's all good. But thousands of outreach actions to people, and we've not had that kind of response. Sales Navigator is proving to be very, very useful when we do a targeted campaign to take a target company and map out the people that work in that company. And I've also told Alice before that I think it would be a very cool feature if we could build an org chart of that company on LinkedIn. That would be so helpful, because we have so many connections within the company, and now I want to see that visually. How do they interact with each other? Who's reporting to whom, and things like that. So anyway, Sales Navigator is great, and the sales team is working with it on a daily basis. Yes.
First of all, thank you for sharing the information and use cases and experience. It's very helpful. My question is, are you working on the possibility to work on LinkedIn as me as my company page, but through my mobile when I'm not in front of my laptop?
She's right.
Yeah, you're not the first person to say that.
I can imagine. It's so basic.
Yeah, and it's not just company page, right? It's even
It's
ads.
switching. It's switching between the users. I'm sorry to say Facebook, but in Facebook it's so easy. You just push on the icon of your picture, and it says you want to post as yourself, or share, or like as yourself, or as the company, or another page you're adminning. So.
Is there taglines?
It's don't have timelines, but it's definitely something that's important under the senior project and they are working on.
Great.
It's a challenge, right? And even if you want to go into campaign manager, you need to do it as a person and not a company, and
Exactly,
that's yeah, and company page as well. We've all sorts of issues like that. We know about them. It's not going to be fixed tomorrow. Hopefully, the next time I come back to Tel Aviv, it is fixed.
I hope it's very soon you come back.
So do I. So do I. But yeah, so we understand that it's a challenge, but we don't have the time now.
I think it's important to note as well that there's a lot of feedback on the product here today that OurCrowd, our VP of product, was in Israel in June, and I think the number was in the past year to 18 months, there's been 180 different changes on our platform, both on the LinkedIn platform itself and on the campaign manager tool that you use to pay for advertising. So the rate of change probably isn't as fast as anyone would like, but I think 180 changes to any platform in the space of that time is significant. So all this feedback that you're giving us is taken on board, and our engineers are really open to hearing from us, particularly from a market like Israel, where it is probably one of our more advanced markets globally, and the feedback that you're giving is being bubbling up to people that need to know. So while we're saying it's a process, all these changes are actually in process, they're not just empty words. So I think it's just important to note that the product is changing rapidly as well to meet your demands.
I should say as well about the Israeli market that our Israeli clients like spot bugs sometimes before we do. So it's highly appreciated, but it's maybe indicative of how savvy you guys are and how
We're the
sophisticated you are.
biggest QA team we've ever had.
Yeah, exactly. It's a massive outsourcing exercise for us.
We're proud of a very short attention span in Israel.
When you get leads directly from LinkedIn, not when people reach out to you, is it usually, do you think, what kind of content that you put out that they end up wanting to reach out to engage to you? Do you sometimes, like you were just talking about the product, you put a call to action, like reach out to me if you're interested in, or do you think it's just an ongoing, consistent, and they come in randomly, you don't see a correlation between a specific piece of, let's say, organic content or pictures or video, you don't see any, do you see a specific correlation to something you post after a while and it helps bring in more leads, or you don't see any kind of correlation to the content you put out and leads you get directly?
I wish I could say with 100% certainty that there is a direct correlation, but in marketing, like in marketing, things take time. So if you want to be a good marketeer and you want to build a strong brand over time, then these things take time. There are some immediate wins when we post some content that is related to a feature of a product, or we're showing some data from our customers, and things that are very tangible, and other customers can look at it and say, hey, I did that too. That we get people saying, can I come down and visit you, or can we set up a meeting, or it happens several times, but it's not happening in a massive scale. It's more the likes and the well done kind of comments and the shares that are building the trust over time, that then people randomly come back to me and say, can we talk, can we get more information? And I use LinkedIn as my number one outbound source as well. So not just inbound. I mean, inbound is great through the content marketing, but outbound, when I want to then go and tackle someone, then I do that. So I wish I could say yes. Every time I put a post about a product, people say I want that product, but obviously it's not the case. But it does happen from time to time, and it does happen randomly when I consistently share me or the company.
Gotcha. Thank you.
I don't know if you can get this report, but do you have any data on how much attention or leads or activity or likes are coming from mobile viewers versus desktop? Is that even a report that's feasible or possible?
Is that for me?
I'm saying LinkedIn / you guys, I don't know.
I don't know.
So let me clarify the point, is that I think that when you think about other social platforms, if you look at the amount of time spent on mobile versus desktop, it's heavily weighted towards mobile, right? The sense I get is that for LinkedIn, it's the opposite. That people are spending much more time on LinkedIn on desktop versus mobile. I think part of that's the function of the app and other issues. But I think I'm curious: is that you guys see that from a data perspective, that the average consumer who's consuming content on LinkedIn is more heavily weighted on desktop versus mobile?
So we had our, if you like, mobile tipping point, I think around 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think we're up to the point where I'm going to say circa 70% is through mobile. I think we redesigned the app about 2 years ago, which drove a lot more engagement. Engagement in the newsfeed is purposely designed really for more mobile engagement. So the platform has moved in that direction already, and I think probably will go further. That said, obviously compared to most other social platforms, indeed, well, you know, it's a professional network, so people look at it when they're at work, and we do have very strong desktop traffic as well, which for some clients of ours is actually really important.
You're saying 70% of the traffic is mobile?
I guess around 70%, yeah. I'd say at least 70% actually.
All right. Let's test that theory. How many people in this room use LinkedIn more on mobile than desktop?
Use both.
How about desktop versus mobile? Or desktop?
There you go.
And half the people don't use it. So.
Some people don't use it at all.
Yeah.
that probably figures. That's probably about right.
Yeah.
So we see a surge in traffic just in terms of that. So like if you think about people traveling to work or coming back from work, they're on mobile. If they're in work, they might be using desktop. Yes. But on weekends, I think like often we get the question, should we switch our LinkedIn to desktop on the weekend? We see a massive surge over the weekend.
Oh yeah.
People get to come back and actually look and read the content and make the decisions they want to make and go and investigate companies and meet partners, whatever it might be. Likewise, we had clients trying to ramp up their activity over the holiday period. Like in the States, Thanksgiving, I had a client who really put a lot of money into their advertising over Thanksgiving and got some of the best quality leads that they've ever had. Because if you're going onto a professional network while it is a holiday period, you're going to be the most engaged person or the most engaged lead that you could ever get. So invest more, and you can get it cheaper over those times. Over Christmas, the same thing. Go in with a new year, new company, new decisions kind of message, and you can really make a huge impact on your target audience at those times.
We found the same on weekends, so we purposefully post on weekends.
That'll be 90% mobile, I guess.
Yeah, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Just maybe for the next time that you're here, maybe you come on the Tel Aviv Marathon as well. It's in February, so you're welcome.
Great.
Think about it.
Let's see how this one goes first. I'm a little nervous about it.
There's also a 10K that you can do.
Okay.
But I think that obviously our robotics and Efrat are doing an amazing job, but it would be really, really interesting, my personal perspective, to get someone who's selling something like a different product with much lower touch, how they use LinkedIn. Because it really makes sense for a company that every client is huge and has a big LTV compared to someone who needs to get to more people with a lower LTV. So maybe next session, a different case study, but really interesting.
Great, thanks.
We have another event on during the week where a lot of our existing clients are going to be there. And in terms of like networking opportunities, I'm talking to the exact kind of clients that you're talking about.
Where?
Here, tomorrow between 2 and 4. But I can email everyone after this and connect on LinkedIn and just give you the details of it if you want to come along. Our head of content, Jason Miller, is going to be speaking at it. And I can make some direct connections for you then if you're available, or Thursday afternoon at the same time. But I'll email it for you afterwards.
Okay,
We went up.
I think so. It's quiet, so.
It's gone quiet. Efrat, how's my Efrat, sorry. I've spoken so much in the R.
You know, when I took the Australia, they used to call me Effie.
Efrat. I'm trying to get my accent out. On behalf of LinkedIn, I want to thank you for taking the time to come and talk to the group. I want to thank everyone for coming as well. It's been a real pleasure, and I hope.
For anybody who has any questions, the LinkedIn team up here. So, Efrat, Irene, and Niall. So if anyone has any questions, Ayla is somewhere around the place. Over there.